What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another PSA returns video. I received back from grading with PSA 28 Decipher Star Wars customizable card game cards. And I always want to say collectible, but it's customizable card game cards. When you think of customizable card game, think of like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, except instead it has robots and aliens and Star Wars stuff. So all of these cards return back really quickly, and PSA is running really fast right now. I sent in, as part of their October submission, they had like a discount going where it's $15 per CCG card. So I sent in 28 cards. Every one of these I just picked off eBay. They were raw cards. They were not pack fresh. And in general, I did better than the last unboxing, where most of the cards, or a vast majority of the cards, were pack fresh. So that was surprising. I received 2 PSA 7s, which is near mint. I received 13 PSA 8s, which are near mint / mint, 12 PSA 9s, which are mint, and then 1 PSA 10, which is gem mint. So in general, I did a lot better than the last one, but some of the grades were a little strange. It was just did not meet expectations, but that's okay. But in general, these turned out really great, and they're beautiful cards, and they're all foils. So let's take a look at the first one here. This is Greedo Reflections foil from 2000. Look at how awesome that is. Now, the reason this got the 7, and I didn't notice it when I bought it, is you can see right here, there's a foil line going through the background on Greedo. So that did happen with a lot of these cards. When they were printed, they just had what's called foil lines. Those in general are supposed to not be are supposed to not affect the grade that much, according to some of the experts like Darth Grader or Kyle, who both run the Star Wars Graded CCG group on Facebook. And I've learned a lot from those guys and their videos on YouTube. But Board Game Matt is another one that covers these cards in great detail. And I apologize for the glare. I'm just trying to show you guys that foil line that runs in the background right there. So in my opinion, this one was pretty well centered, and it didn't have much edge wear, but it had enough edge wear, and I'm guessing because of that foil line, it got the PSA 7. So I'm going to give this one away and try to upgrade it at some point. I've got a PSA 9 of the original issue Greedo, the non-foil version, and I was hoping to get a PSA 9 on this one, but I just didn't see that foil line either when I bought it or when I submitted it. So that unfortunately did get the PSA 7, but pretty nice looking card, and I'll put that one right there for now. The only other 7 I got was this one. I wish this one had done better, but this is called Epic Duel. A fantastic image there of Darth Vader fighting Luke Skywalker. Look how much foil is on that card. Now, there's no foil lines on this one that I can see, so it must have just been either surface wear or edge wear. The surface wear is another area where I'm still learning. I don't pick that up very easily on eBay, for sale listings. So, but it looks like maybe might be a printer error right here. I can't tell. It looks like it's either part of the card or maybe that's a foil line of some sort. I don't know. So that could have affected the grade on it. But great looking card. Absolutely gorgeous foil on that one. Maybe I'll upgrade it one day or find one that's already graded on eBay. So, in general, though, at $15 a card, I think it's worth a risk for a lot of these. Most of these were $2 or $3 a card at most. So let's dig into the PSA 8s now. Next up is Stalker, another Reflections foil from 2000. This one got the PSA 8. And pretty nice looking card there. So I've got kind of a thing for the Star Destroyers. There's so many different cards, both non-foil as well as foil. And this is one I was hoping to get the 9 on, but it did get the 8. Next up is Vigo. Now this is one I kind of alluded to at the beginning of this video. I thought this one was going to get a PSA 10. So I don't know what I missed on it, but it only got the PSA 8. What an awesome looking foil though. It looks great. And this is one of Prince Zizor's hand-picked lieutenants, ascended as Black Sun agent from gangster to manager, earned title Vigo from old T&Es for nephew. So anyway, he was kind of like one of Prince Zizor's kind of right-hand man. And I've got Jodo Cast, who was a bounty hunter that worked for Prince Zizor. I don't have Prince Zizor yet. That's one I really would like to get, but he's a pretty expensive card, even raw. But that's a beautiful foil, but it did only get the PSA 8, and that's okay. Some of I'm not going to win them all. But next up is one I sent 2 in. This one got the 8, but I also did get the 9, which I'll show you a little bit later on when we get to the 9s. But that's Battle Deployment. This is a Reflections 3 foil, PSA 8, and this is from 2001. But it's just such a gorgeous card, and I picked both of them up for really cheap. This one I got from Fonti's Finds, and not all of his cards do well, but I did okay on that one, and it was like $1.99 or something really cheap. So I always put a link in the video description to his eBay store, because he does have a lot of cards on his site, but they vary in condition. You got to look at them. And I've gotten PSA 9s before. I've never gotten a PSA 10 with his offerings, but mostly 8s and mostly 8s and 9s. But that Greedo, that foil Greedo, was another one of his that got the 7, unfortunately. Next up is Jabba. This is a great looking card. It's kind of like the Star Wars re-release where they added in a bunch of effects. So when they re-released A New Hope with additional footage, obviously this is kind of the CGI Jabba. And but I've got some better Jabba cards coming up as part of this batch that I'll show you. But beautiful looking card, and that one got the PSA 8. This is a Reflections foil from 2000. Next up is Captain Pelion. He is the Corellian leader, lied about his age to enter the academy, took command of the Chimera when its captain was killed at the Battle of Endor. And he admires Grand Admiral Thrawn. So eventually Grand Admiral Thrawn took over the Chimera, the Imperial Star Destroyer Chimera, as part of Timothy Zahn's books. And at first, Captain Pelion resented it, but then he grew to actually really admire Grand Admiral Thrawn. So Thrawn is another one I'd like to get at some point, but I picked this one up for very inexpensively, but it only did get the 8, unfortunately. Next up is another card that I wish had gotten the 9, and that's Bad Feeling Have I. This is Reflections 2 foil from 2001, and that one did get the PSA 8, but look how beautiful that foil is on that for Yoda. Absolutely awesome looking card. I was hoping for the 9 on that one, but it did get the 8, but look how beautiful that foil effect is for Yoda. Next up was another inexpensive one. This is Mercenary Pilot. So one of Jabba's henchmen on the skiff during the Return of the Jedi. I'm assuming that this is Brock Starsher, or no, it looks similar to Brock Starsher. I can't tell from the Vintage Collection line, but another great looking card. That one also got the PSA 8, and this is a Reflections 3 2001 foil. Here's the only non-foil. I forgot I did have this one. I think I had 2 non-foils in this batch, actually. But this is the Enhanced Jabba's Palace Bush from 1999, and this one did get the 8, and this is another card that I think I picked up from Fonti's Finds. I can't remember. Great looking image there of Leia in the Bush disguise. And, you know, obviously this is an older card. You know, this is, what, 23 years old. So pretty awesome to still get an 8 for a 23-year-old card. Next up is Lobot in a foil. This is the Reflections foil Dark Side Lobot. And when it says Dark Side, that just means it's got the Imperial logo on the back. But for a lot of characters, they did both. They did a light side and a dark side. And Lobot is the same way, where they have kind of a nicer looking image where he looks kind, and then they take a dark side version of Lobot. So this is kind of where he's looking a little bit more menacing, the shadows around his face. But look how crisp and clean he looks in that photo. With the foil there. So again, it's tough to get, you know, when you're picking out cards raw on eBay, it's tough to know what kind of surface wear you got and things like that. But this is, you know, a pretty great looking card, and there is a lot of dust on these cards just because I just pulled them out of the box from PSA. PSA does not ship these in protective little baggies, just like the way graded action figures like AFA and CAS, they'll send you the items back in a poly bag, but PSA does not do that, so you have to buy those yourself, as I covered in a different video, and they're not very expensive. You can get a bag of 50 of them for like $5 or $6 on eBay, or I'm sure a bunch of different other collecting websites. But great looking image of Lobot there, and that did get the PSA 8. And I believe this is the only other last non-foil card that was in this batch. This is Leia Jedi Pack from 1996. So this is the oldest card of the bunch there. Great looking image of Leia as she was uploading the hologram into R2-D2 after the Tantive 4 was captured by Lord Vader in A New Hope. So beautiful looking card, PSA 8 on that one. Next up is a prequel trilogy card, and this is called After Her. After Her. You can just picture the droid voice on that one, but that shows Queen Amidala, you know, infiltrating the palace with her with her guards, and it shows the battle droid there, kind of unknowingly getting ready to get blasted by her and her convoy of different different soldiers there. So this one got the PSA 8, and again, it's a 2001 Reflections 3 foil. Another kind of prequel card. This is a nice looking one. This is called They Win This Round. And this is, again, a Reflections 3 foil PSA 8. And again, it shows Queen Amidala with, I forgot the captain's name, but, it's got, all those palace guards along with a roller droid right there. And we'll have more on him in a little while, but that kind of droidica looking robot from the original Phantom Menace film. So pretty cool looking. And then the last PSA 8 that I got was another one I wish had gotten the PSA 9, but it's a beautiful Maul's lightsaber. Look how gorgeous the foil effect is on that one. No foil lines on this one. Usually when they have a lot of foil like this, that's where it's really hard to get a high grade on these. But this one did get the PSA 8 near mint to mint, and just an awesome image of Darth Maul there holding his lightsaber. There's a bunch of different, Maul's lightsaber, Vader's lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber, things like that. So in this case, this one actually shows Darth Maul, but some of them just show the lightsaber by itself. So, but an incredible foil effect on that one. Now let's dig into the PSA 9s. This was an interesting card. This is a 2000 Star Wars CCG Jabba's Palace card. And this is one of the few double-sided cards that I've seen. I don't have many of these, but this is called Agents in the Court. And this one shows Reese talking to Yak Face. And this one, I believe I picked up from Fonti's Finds, and it got the PSA 9 mint score. And what's cool about this one is it's a double-sided card. And so this one says, no love for the Empire. And I'm assuming that shows Lando in his skiff guard disguise, again with Yak Face there, and then a Gamorrean guard. So pretty cool. It's probably a gameplay mechanic related. I don't remember all the rules. It's been so long since I played it. But pretty cool to have kind of a double-sided card, and both images show Yak Face, and it did get the PSA 9. So again, it came back with a mint score, and again, all of these cards were not pack fresh, so it's pretty cool to find some of these, outside of the pack that still score really high. Next up is Naboo Occupation. So this was another kind of prequel card, foil with all of the different battle droids encircling all of the soldiers inside that kind of hangar bay where all the starfighters were in the Phantom Menace. So pretty great looking card, and again, it's an effect card, so it's not particularly rare or anything like that, but it did come back with the PSA 9. Next up, we've got a great looking card. This is called The Circle Is Now Complete. What an awesome looking card. And this is another Lost Interrupt card, and it got the PSA 9, and this is the dark side version. So again, there is a light side version apparently, but this one has the Imperial logo on the back, so it was labeled dark side by PSA. And PSA does mess up the labels sometimes on these. There were 2 cards in this batch where they give you a chance to review the labels, and I noticed that they had the wrong, there's Reflections 1, 2, and 3, and for a couple of them, they labeled them as Reflections when it was Reflections 2. And they give you a chance to email them and let them know that that there is a problem with the labeling. And they did fix it really quickly within a couple of days of being notified, so that's kind of cool. But all the rest of them, the other 26 came back just fine in terms of how they label them. So that one's pretty awesome looking card, though, for a mint 9. Next up, speaking of those roller droids, this one's called Rolling, Rolling, Rolling. So I think that's kind of a reference not only to the fact that these guys roll, but there was a song that was, I think it was by, I don't know who it was. It was a heavy metal band, I think, but there was a song called Rolling, Rolling, Rolling. And they do that a lot with these. Slip Sliding Away was a card I showed you in my last unboxing. Obviously, that's a reference to what's his name? Was it Paul McCartney that had a song called Slip Sliding Away? So, but anyway, this is Rolling, 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 and it shows the roller droids there. Pretty awesome. And they, like I said, a lot of these just have really interesting information where it talks about all of the different planets, and I guess there's some alien species that designed this roller droid, and they kind of modeled it after themselves. It was an alien that I guess moved around using a rolling technique. So Pretty cool. But anyway, that one got the PSA 9. Here's another interesting one. This is the Tanaka sisters. We obviously had, the campaign to bring the Tanaka sisters to Time for Tanaka as Boss Bounty and Only One Kenobi kind of reference. They were trying to get the Tanaka sisters made for the Vintage Collection. That did not happen, clearly, just given that they're kind of a small character, but pretty cool. And this one also got the PSA 9. This is a 2000 Reflections foil, but a great image there. Next up is another Episode 1 character that we all know very well, and that is Watto. This has got a lot of foil on the card back, and luckily it did come back with the PSA 9, which was my expectation when I got this one. I was like, this one's definitely got to get a 9. It was just so clean. So pretty awesome looking image there of Watto. Next up is another Imperial Star Destroyer. This is the Avenger. This one also got the PSA 9. A little bit more subtle with the foil effect on this one. Sometimes they foil just the edges and like the stars like they did in this one. Sometimes they actually foil the the actual Star Destroyer itself, but this one is a little bit more subtle. But that one is the 2000s Reflections foil, and that one did get the PSA 9. Next up, we've got yet another Episode 1 character that we all know, and that's Newt Gunray. And the foil effect there is on his headdress and his necklace or his robe there. And that one also got the PSA 9. This is a Reflections 3 foil from 2001. That's a beautiful card. Speaking of Jabba, I've got a much better Jabba card than the one that got the PSA 8. This is Mighty Jabba. This one is a Reflections 3 foil, and it got the PSA 9. Look how awesome his eyes look there and how they light up. That's a beautiful looking card. And instead of CGI Jabba, this is kind of the more traditional Jabba from the Return of the Jedi. But awesome looking card. I'm really happy with that one. And speaking of slip sliding away, I got the PSA, I think, 9 in the last batch, and this one got the PSA 9 as well. And this is the foil version of slip sliding away. And they use the same language on there. Luke got the shaft. But it looks beautiful with the lights on this one sort of, reflecting there instead of just a plain card, which is what the original was from the Cloud City 1997 card. They just reissued this as part of the 2000s Reflections series. So I've got both of the Reflections 2000 card as well as the 1997 Cloud City original card slip sliding away, and both of them in a PSA 9. And then again, I already referenced this one. I sent in 2 battle deployments, and it's a beautiful card. This one actually did get the PSA 9 this time, so that was nice. And I knew that one of them would get the PSA 9, and you never know, like if you have to submit them in the order that you input them on the PSA website. I put them both together, but I just wonder if I had sent them, put one of them and then waited 4 or 5 cards and then put the other one, whether it would have gotten a better score. But I just decided to send them both at the exact same time or in the same order, back to back, instead of separating them out. But one of them got the 8 and then this one got the 9. So very happy with that. And the Rancor was one I showed you that got a PSA 7 in the last batch. It was kind of off center, and I knew that I was getting another one in here, and this one got the PSA 9. This is the Rancor from the Reflections 2000 series, but as I mentioned in that unboxing, the last unboxing video, I like how it has almost like a 3D effect where he's popping outside of the square box there, and they tend to do that with the creatures. So that PSA 7 I sent off to a buddy of mine as a gift, and I get to keep this one, the PSA 9. Absolutely gorgeous card. Really happy with that one. And then finally, I did get one PSA 10, and it's a heater. This is a 2001 Reflections 3 foil, and it's called Power of the Hutt. And it did get the Gem Mint PSA 10. I was expecting a 9 on this one, but it did get the 10. So it's a gorgeous card that shows Leia, and it's got a reflective kind of effect on the foil of her bikini or slave outfit, and then also the eyes of Jabba are reflective as well. But what a gorgeous effect card. Really, really nice, and I'm really surprised you got the PSA Gem Mint 10. That was the only Gem Mint 10 in this batch. I've got one more batch that is almost done of 11 cards that I think they're all pack fresh cards, so hopefully they do pretty well. But we'll see how that compares to this batch of cards that I just picked out randomly on eBay, and compare the scores when those arrive, probably in about a week or so. Anyway, that's all I really had for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.